and I will begin. Welcome everyone to this James Kennedy Public Library presentation through the Adult Summer Reading Program. It's great to see all of you here again. I can't see all of your faces right now, but I'm hoping that those of you who were here last week are here tonight, and maybe we picked up some others along the way. The theme of this summer's Adult Summer Reading Program is Reading Colors Your World, and Shirley has put together a wonderful set of activities for all of us to do this summer as a part of the program. And one of the things that she asked me to take part in was an art program, and I was very happy to do so. It certainly fits in with our theme of Reading Colors Your World, and I am happy to be a part of the reading program. The title of my art program is Whimsical Illustrations, and this is part 2. We did part 1 on June 9th, and my goodness, 2 weeks have already gone by. It is June 23rd, and our program tonight runs from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And obviously it's a Zoom presentation, which we almost didn't have because my computer wasn't functioning right. It is Zoom because we continue to have some COVID restrictions, but hopefully within the next few months, we'll be able to see each other in person, which would be really nice. My name is Diane Kramer, and I do welcome and thank you for all for being here tonight. And as our little whimsical character on the high wire there is saying, she is in the pursuit of happiness. And I hope all of you will find happiness and pleasantries in doing these little illustrations. I think they're a lot of fun to do, and I'm kind of hooked on them, and I do hope that you will be as well. These are the materials that you need. The first 3, I think you can see my cursor here. The first 3 were in the first packet, but you do definitely need these tonight. Your pencil and eraser, a fine tip black pen, and colored pencils. You'll always need these whenever you're doing any whimsical drawings. The other items that are on the list are in your current packet, the big white envelope. You need to have 2 sheets of whimsical facial features and hairstyles, and no need necessarily to take them out now, but we will be using all of these tonight. I included 2 whimsical drawings of my own. One is a girl, whimsical girl, and the other one is a flower, and we'll be using those to do some chalk drawings later. I also have in your packet 2 book pages. One, and these are old books, I'm not destroying any new ones. One is a dictionary page, and the other is a page from an old Call of the Wild novel. There's 1 piece of yellow cardstock and 1 sheet of cream colored paper also. I hope that if you did your homework, which was to do some of your own whimsical drawings, that you included them and brought them along with you tonight, because those also will be something that you could use some chalking on later. Then, as far as the chalk is concerned, I included 4 plastic mini cups in a smaller Ziploc, and each of those mini cups contains a different color of powdered chalk. And I'll tell you how you can prepare your own, but tonight I thought it would be easiest if I would just prepare it beforehand, and you would have it ready to go tonight. And then finally 2 cotton rounds, 2 cotton balls, and 2 Q-tips. So if you are ready to go here, we will continue. Oh, by the way, those of you who were with me last time, you might recall or recognize this drawing by this artist. Her name is Sam Toft, and perhaps you did some Googling of Sam Toft's drawings. Sam always draws this man. His name is Ernest Hemingway Mustard, and this is his wife, Violet, and his little dog, Doris, and they are very much a little family and fun drawings. I want to start tonight by reviewing very, very briefly the Whimsical Illustrations Part 1 that we did. And I included some of the drawings, again, that you might be familiar with the artists. The one here on my right is by Diane Duda, D-U-D-A, and she does the drawing like we did with the circles and the triangles. This one is Sam Toft, lovely little drawing, a little tenderness. And the other 2, I don't know the authors, but they certainly fit in with our idea of whimsy. First bit of review. We talked about the basic shape of whimsical figures, and this is true not of all whimsical figures, but definitely of a lot of the human figures. they all have these geometric shapes. And we drew one last week or 2 weeks ago like this. The round, the circles, the triangles, the rectangles, and you can see that in the shapes that are given here in Diane Duda's and in this one. And this one I chose to show, especially for those of you who do any sort of quilting or embroidery. Leah, I know that you are among those. This is actually a piece from a quilt. And I just love the way it was put together. I love the little, the material chosen, and it fits again with our geometric shapes, doesn't it? With the triangles, the circle. I'm going to try drawing that. I think that's pretty neat. So that's one part of the review. The second and final part of the review is this, the steps that we took to drawing a whimsical figure. Always start with a pencil drawing. Draw your basic figure, the triangles, the circles, whatever. Step 2, using your pen, the fine-tipped pen, go over those pencil lines, making any desired changes, additions, deletions, whatever you wish. Step 3 is erasing those pencil lines carefully. In step 4, we get into kind of the fun part, and we add adornments and background designs. Adornments like the ribbon in the hair, the fancy little dress. Well, last week we drew a character who had a star wand, and we put stars illuminated all around her as well. And that's what we're going to talk more about background designs tonight. Step 5 is to add color to your whimsical character. And then the final step, easy step. I'm encouraging you to initial and date all of your artwork. Diane initials hers down in the bottom with the DI. I usually put DK and the date somewhere down here at the bottom of my drawings, but I think it's important for people to know that it is yours, and then it's important for you to remember what the date is that on which you did the drawing. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of our review of the basics. Now on to the new things. I'm going to share with you some tips and suggestions to add to your whimsical drawings. They're very simple and very effective. Then we'll talk about backgrounds, simple ways to add visual effectiveness to your whimsical drawings. And this is where we're going to be getting into the chalking. And then tonight's new class drawing is what I call a curly-haired beauty. It's the hairstyle perhaps you haven't tried yet on yours. And then maybe we'll talk about another part 3 whimsical illustrations for later on this summer or early fall. So here we begin with the new stuff. I'm going to start out with 5 tips and suggestions to add to your whimsical drawings. And this little whimsical character here says it best. The best moment is right now, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into this. In your packet, in tonight's packet, you have 2 papers. One is an example of facial features that you see here, and the second one is examples of hairstyles. And I'm just going to refer to those as suggestions for you to use if you haven't already done so. I'm asking that you experiment with different facial features. Now, last week, we used the facial feature, and I'm going to move this a little bit if I can. I don't know if I can. Well, maybe I can. Last 2 weeks ago, we did this little character's facial features, very simple, just simple lines and arcs. Eyes were closed, she was rather shy, smiling mouth. But look at all the others that are possible, and these are just a few of the ones that I chose to share with you. Facial figures are important, or facial expressions are important because they add to the whimsy, to the fun of your drawings. And it's recommended that when you are doing the facial features, the eyes should be as far apart as possible and as large as possible or as small as possible. Either way, you're exaggerating because, of course, these are whimsical. These are products of your imagination. And it's interesting to note that changing just one element of the facial expression will change the character's personality. So if you go from this demure, shy little character to something like this, with the wide open eyes of surprise, immediately there is a difference in the feeling that they're expressing. So experiment with different facial features. My second tip for you tonight is to choose a variety of hairstyles. 2 weeks ago, we drew a figure that had this type of hairstyle. We did the round face, and then we did the triangles for the hair, and we added a little bit of dimension to that. These other facial or these other hairstyles are some that I do encourage you to try. How about trying long hair and putting a fancy little bow in the hair, or pigtails? And if you do pigtails, it immediately suggests to me maybe a little schoolgirl look, as does the dress. That's all important in what you want to convey. This bun on the head is more matronly, maybe a more elderly character, as is the dress. This one with the fancy curlicues and the flower wreath, I guess we could call it, on her head, suggests something else. Now, this is our curly-haired character that we're going to be drawing later on tonight. And if I were in person with you, I would say, raise your hand if you did this on any of your drawings. This is a fun one to do. It takes a little bit longer, but this is one of my favorites, and we're going to be doing this later. It's spirals, just a series of spirals. It reminds me of someone who has recently had a very new tight perm, or someone who has curly hair, naturally curly hair. And don't forget those adornments, the bows, the leaves, the anything at all goes, because it is certainly not meant to be realistic. Tip number 3, let's talk about the clothing styles for a moment. Last week we did a dress that went down to about knee length. Another suggestion for clothing is to make the dresses shorter, as in this one, and then you can elongate those legs and put some more fancy stockings on the character. In this drawing, I also did a different hairstyle, and notice how it changes immediately the feeling of the character. This is what we're going to put in our character's hair later on. I think it looks kind of like wheat. I don't know if it is exactly that. I'll just call it some stems of wheat. And we will add a balloon later also. And then don't forget those dots. Remember, we did the dots last time, and some of you said that you like those especially, and they're very easy to do. So dresses shorter and legs longer, or make the dresses longer all the way to the floor, and then add some tiny little feet. This was my pen drawing. This was my color drawing. Now, I want to draw your attention to the hair in this one. This hairstyle is like the style we did 2 weeks ago. However, I have the lines at a diagonal rather than straight across. I think we did straight across. And notice also, I didn't draw the line straight and solid all the way up. I left some gaps in between, and that allows for more color. It allows for kind of a depth. So play around with that a little bit, and the different style of those dangles hanging from her ears, and just the whole thing, and the longer neck. Tip number 5, change the size and the shape of the sleeves. Notice how each of these figures has a different personality. This one has the sleeve style we did last time with the triangles, and it reminds me kind of a little schoolgirl look. This one is more matronly, a little bit longer sleeve. This one, I'm not sure where this would fit, but it's the bubbled sleeves or big puffy sleeves. And this one looks maybe more scholarly, or like a judge, or maybe something religious. Regardless of what sleeve shape and size you choose, I'd like to have you play with everything, whether it be hairstyle or facial expression or the clothing. Change positions, change sizes, change shapes. And once you've got it, once you feel really comfortable with those things, you're going to be tempted, I think, to take your drawings to the next level and incorporate your own ideas, and just kind of get away from the fact that it has to look real, because it doesn't. It can look as fantastical as you want it to look. So those are my tips, or just kind of general tips. Now we're going to get into some background ideas. 4 simple ways to add to the beauty of your drawings. In your packet of materials, you had those 2 book pages, the one a dictionary page, the one from a novel. My first background idea for you is to draw your whimsical illustration on a page from an old book. And I'm seeing this more and more. It's certainly not my idea, but I love it. If you have some old books around that are tattered and torn and, maybe coffee stained, whatever, try drawing on them, or the ones that I put in your packet. This one happens to be from a book on questions and answers on sacred scriptures. So we're getting into the realm of the pious here. And this artist, and this is not mine, but this artist, look at the pretty flower, butterfly, grass along the bottom. This one, how simple can you get? This person chose to do the coloration on the outside, and then look at the border. It's nothing more than a series of random lines around and around and around. And the drawing also is simple, with an arm releasing a balloon, and the simple encouragement to us is let go. And that was the message that this artist wanted to share. And finally, this is from a dictionary page, I believe, and the artist superimposed a pretty flower on top of the page. Notice when you're using colored pencil, I think even some watercolors, you will be able to see the print through the picture. And I think that really makes it look nice. I like that effect. So background idea number one, use those old book pages. Background idea number two, draw a branch as I did here, or a ribbon, or a banner as in this little drawing, excuse me, across the top of your paper, and from it, dangle whatever you wish. On this one, I dangled those illuminated stars, and this could have been the banner at the top of our drawing last week, because we had a star banner, a star wand in that drawing. On this one, I simply cut out hearts and butterflies and glued them onto my paper. And the third one, I especially like this one. I like the banner idea, where you can draw the banner and the flag and then put a message on there, and it fits in with the character and the overall theme. Now, notice from the banner is extended little hearts and wings. So it fits in somehow with what this person is saying. So background idea two, draw those banners, branches across the top. This is background idea three. All of these drawings were by an artist named Judith Laboria. And Judith is a European, so that's probably why she spells that name this way instead of Judith. And on her drawings, which I also find quite attractive, she uses colorful scrapbook paper as backgrounds. It reminds me, especially in like this one and maybe this, of wallpaper. She first of all does the drawing, and then behind the drawing, she cuts out whatever shapes of scrapbook paper she wishes to use. On this one, she put a few of the scrapbook paper drawings in front of the character, and there she used only half of it. So isn't that neat? I like that a lot. And then here we're getting into what you're going to be working on tonight. And this is the final background idea on pastel chalks, using pastel chalks. I wanted to draw your attention to this drawing. This is one that I did, and I first drew the flowers. And Karen, I think that these look a little bit like the campanulas. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, that I bought at the library plant sale. Okay, great. And ours are blooming, and they look somewhat like this. Now, after I drew the flower, I wanted to add a background. And I did draw the dots, but hey, I wanted something a little bit more spectacular than the dots. So I did the chalking, and I put coordinating colors. I did lavender chalk on this side and blue chalk on this side. Also, I did a punch out of some butterflies, and then I made a butterfly path, just little dotted lines right here and at the top. And I always like to do something with the corners of my drawings. I don't necessarily like just the squared off corners, so I almost always do just the rounded corner with a little punch, or a fancier corner like the one up here and on the other side. So that's my drawing, and these are the benefits of using pastels. They really do produce rich and vibrant colors very easily. They're handy and easy to use. You don't have to have watercolors and water and brushes and everything else. They're a little bit messy in that you get the dust on your fingers and maybe on your desk, but that's no big deal. They require fewer materials than most painting mediums, and they're easy to blend. I didn't do much blending in this drawing, but you can see over in here, there's a little bit of blend of the blue with the purple, and that happens quite easily. So you could put all one color, you can put several colors, and that's what I wanted to show you next on the next slide. But before I do, take a look at the bottom. It's important that you use chalk pastels and not oil pastels. If you use oil pastels, they're very greasy and oily, and they won't smear and spread out on your paper as the chalk pastels do. Hey, the chalk pastels are nothing more than like sidewalk chalk. You can get them really cheap, or you can use the ones that you would use on a chalkboard. So they're quite accessible. These are some options that you could use in applying your chalk pastels. On this one, which we've already seen, the artist used one color of chalk and she applied it all the way around her drawing. It does look like there are two colors, a light and a dark, but that's because when you rub this chalk onto your paper, it's going to have a marbled look, a motley look, which adds to the beauty of it, I think. So that's one color of chalk blended in. This one is our Judith Laboria. She used one color of chalk, but she used it in a different way. She first put a layer all the way around of the, except over the picture, on of the light lavender. And then because she wanted the borders and around the drawing itself to be darker, she just kept putting more and more chalk on, of course, until she had the desired picture. And that becomes, and is framed then also. Another option you could do is take a look at the colors in your dress or in the stockings, and then use those colors, two or more colors, and apply to the background. And then these you would blend together and kind of put all over the drawing itself. So she has some yellows and pinks and reds. So those are your three choices for doing the chalking. And now I'm going to have you do some practice chalking, okay? So you'll need to get some materials out. You'll need to have those plastic containers of powdered chalk. So get those handy, and you might use one, you might use all four of the colors, depending on what you want in your drawing. You will need to have something to apply the colored chalk, and you will need cotton rounds or cotton balls or Q-tips. Some or all of these will be put to use tonight. And in your packet, there is a sheet of cream colored paper. And if you would take that out, and we're just going to practice doing the rubbing on of the chalk on that blank paper. And then finally, I'd like to have you take out either your original drawings or one of the drawings in the packet. So whichever you prefer working on tonight. And I'll give you a moment to get those. And then I'm going to get set up with changing the camera here, because I want to show you how you can prepare your own chalk. Easy.
And you'll also need to stop sharing your screen when you're ready.
Okay, and I'm going to do that now. I hope everyone has had a chance to get out the materials. We're okay with that? I'm not seeing anybody, so I'm hoping that it's okay. We're okay. All right, I'm going to stop share. Right. Yes. And then that comes back to me. And then I need to go to my camera, this trusty little camera here. Oh, good, it's on. All right. And I have a sheet of paper here on which I'm going to show you how to prepare your own chalk. It's kind of fun, actually. And I'm using chalk that looks like this. These are pastels, or no, these are chalk pastels in different pieces than usual chalk. And I also have an X-Acto knife, a very sharp little X-Acto knife. So you would need to have some sort of a sharp implement to put the chalk onto your paper. And this is what you do, very simple. Let's say that I have a drawing here on the center of my page. So I would like to have the chalk put around the outside. And I simply use my X-Acto knife and scrape. And I'm going to put enough on so that you can see what I'm doing when I apply this. So there we have that. And next I'm going to take out my, put that up here, my cotton round, wherever the camera is here, and I'll fold it in half, and then I'll fold it in half again. This not only is more convenient to use, but also then you can use the other 3 or 4 sides when you are applying a different color. So now I'm going to use the cotton round, and I'm going to simply press the chalk into the page. See how already it's beginning to change, and it's just kind of magical. Now, as you do this, don't go sweeping back and forth like this, but instead press the chalk in little circles like this until you get exactly the color you want and the shape you want as well. What I have to do often is just blow off the chalk or just tip the paper up. Another thing that I use is this. It's kind of an old makeup brush, and you can just sweep that right off of the page. So this is another handy little object to have. You can add more color, of course, and that will allow you to have those darker borders or darker areas around your figure. So the more I add, the darker and darker and darker it gets. It should be getting darker. I don't know if you can see that. Now, let's say you're finished. You've added all of your chalk, but you've got some of your chalk on the figure that you drew. So just gently erase the color, the chalk from your drawing. And if you need to, you can use a Q-tip, and you could use a Q-tip if you put a little bit more color on it. And that's what I'm trying to do here, getting a little bit more of the chalk color. And using the Q-tip, you can get into those little nicks and crevices in your drawing that you can't get in when you're using just the cotton round. So this is kind of a smaller tool for you to use. I'm going to put that back over there. The final step is this. Spray the chalk, the whole drawing, with some sort of fixative, and that is so that it holds the chalk on, and when you touch it, it's not going to smear off. You can either purchase what's called Krylon matte fixative in what looks like a spray paint can. I've seen some at Hobby Lobby. They are expensive though. They were like $7, and I thought, I don't know if I want to spend that just on this fixative. So I discovered from some YouTube videos that this sort of thing is the thing to do. It's hairspray. Hairspray works just as well as this expensive Max Fixative, and you can get the small cans of that. And this is how you apply it. I'm not going to spray it here because I don't have a paper around the back, but you would hold your can about 10 inches above your paper and then spray 3 or 4 times like this. And then if need be, spray again 2 or 3 or 4 times, and you will have a nice, beautiful little drawing with the fixative on it. It will make it, the spray will make it shiny as well as more permanent than before. So with that in mind, folks, I'm going to put this aside. And I want to show you one more thing quickly. Here I use blue and pink. And I don't know if you can see very well with the camera here, but right in this area, I blended the two together. So you might want to do this when you're doing your own chalking. If you have chalk on this side and chalk on this side, in order to make that border less distinct and, kind of blended together, you can do that with your piece of colored or piece of cotton. There we are. And now, this is what I'd like to have you do. Would you like to practice the chalking first, or do you want to get right, practice it first? If you would, maybe we could do this. You know, that white sheet of paper, or that cream colored sheet of paper that I included in your packet? It's blank. Yes, Karen is holding it up there. Let's use that just as a practice sheet. And why don't you take out whatever colors you wish, and because you don't have to do the scraping, What you do need to do is either pour it gently so it all doesn't come out on your paper, or you can just use your Q-tip and pull some of that chalk powder out and practice using your cotton round. Remember to fold it in half and then again in half, and use that cotton round and just gently press the dust onto the page, applying it in circles.
I was trying to put some blue around my
around your figure.
practice I did.
Okay, where did you put the blue? Sometimes the chalk
I
doesn't
put some
up.
right here and some up here.
Okay, gotcha. Anybody else have one you'd like to share, or show us what you're doing, or show us your picture from last week? Don't have to. You can just keep drawing away.
Here's my picture that I started. This is the picture from last week.
Yes. Oh, and I see the blue on there. That's already coming.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for sharing. And Kim, last week you shared Joanna Basford's book, and remind me to do that later on as well. I just love what she does. And I'll tell you what, she has an excellent set of videos, YouTube videos on using colored pencils. So highly recommend it. I'll put her name on the screen later. And oh, and there we have another nice looking lady. And are you going to share something?
Janetta?
Yes.
You're
What are
on.
you sharing?
Okay, now I have
Picture Jennifer drew.
Oh,
I like it.
okay.
I'm doing the same. This is the umbrella.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same picture with one I colored.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there we have another. Oh, yes.
Oh, it's the same. It's the same picture, but one I colored. But I can't see it.
I love the hair. It looks like the wind is blowing it.
She's caught in a storm.
On the story.
Oh, now what am I getting here, guys? I'm getting something totally different on screen. I have I'm back to where I should be. Debbie, I
Yeah,
can
Mary.
see yours. I can see it, but you're not the big picture. Can we get a big picture of Debbie Goodenkoff?
So you need to set your gallery view to be speaker view, and then she needs to talk.
Okay, I've got speaker view on.
Okay, then she needs to talk when she's showing it, so it should switch to her.
All right, talk, Deb.
Here's my picture.
There it is. There it
Cute,
is.
yeah.
All right, good. Did you add any chalk?
Yeah, I have blue on it. I don't know if you can see much.
Yeah,
of
I
it or
see
not.
it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
blue chalk is real light. So is yellow and some of those other ones, but I can vaguely see it down below. Yes, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I did some of the blue too. I don't know if you can.
Oh,
Oh my
okay.
gosh. Definitely whimsical. Let's see yours again, Darcy. Would you talk again?
So I did some blue and some green,
Okay.
but you really can't tell. I almost need to add some more and make more dark circles.
She can
Darcy,
draw.
put your picture up a little farther. I'd like to see the shoes on this little guy, and then talk.
Okay, can you see them now?
Oh, yes.
That's cute.
That's cute. All right.
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
okay,
Sandy?
well, I had drawn this. Can you see me?
Yeah, now it's coming into view right now. Yes. All right. Okay. Oh,
So I had drawn this and I had already put the background in. So I thought, well, what if I chalk that? I could cut that, right?
would you say that again, Sandy? That was real muffled.
Okay, so I had already finished the background on mine. So I could chalk that and then cut the doll out and put it on a chalk background.
You could, if you wish. That would certainly be one option. You could chalk around it, but you have a lot of little detail there. So chalking in
Right.
those little nooks and crannies might be difficult. A Q-tip might come in handy there. But yeah, you could do that. You could cut it out and put it Or like on a scrapbook background, we talked about
Sure.
those as at the background too. Yes,
Okay,
Good.
yeah,
good idea.
okay,
Thank you.
yes.
Anyone else? Okay, if you'd like to take a few more minutes and do a little bit more chalking if you would like. And then we're going to go on to our featured drawing for the evening. Featured drawing for the evening. It does get a little messy, as you're finding out, because the chalk dust becomes, it's kind of everywhere. I would recommend also that you have either wet or dry cloth, or just some of those wet ones, those things, and they would be handy for something like this, not only to clean your hands off between chalking colors, or just to wipe off the working surface that you have there. The first time I did the chalking, I was pleasantly surprised at how pretty the chalk looked. I didn't expect it to flatten out and to spread out so nicely. And I like that marbled look that you get when you do the chalking. It's certainly faster than having to do colored pencil all over the background of your paper. And keep in mind, if you do get chalk on your drawing, on the picture, the featured picture, you can use an eraser to get it off if you gently erase, and then the Q-tip to reapply as needed. Speaking of erasers, did any of you consider getting the pink pearl eraser by Papermate? Yeah, it's a good one to use and inexpensive as well. So another little tip.
No, but I'm tired of fighting pencil sharpeners, so I did go and buy one of the ones that you recommended.
Good for you, Darcy. Darcy, did you get it online or did you get it in a store?
Amazon.
Amazon, that's where I
Yeah.
got mine. Yes. And I'm thinking I have the 2 holes. Do you as well?
Yep.
Yep, I did too. And what was the price? Was it 5 something? I'm thinking.
Well, it was probably closer to 10 once I got done with shipping.
Okay.
So about 8, 9.
Okay. And I just love this thing. I have an electric one too, but that kind of chews up some of the pencils. I have never had a sharpener that makes pointier pencil tips. You
Yeah,
too?
I haven't used it yet. I'm anxious to try it.
Oh, yes. I use always the larger of the 2 holes. I don't know. I don't have pencils that are small enough for the other one, but boy, this is a good one. It's Statler. We mentioned it last week, so there you have it. Thanks for mentioning that. I love going in Hobby Lobby. I always like to have some excuse to go in there. So whenever I start a new art activity, oh, I've got to get a new whatever, and I can spend time in there. Or Amazon, that is a favorite place to go as well. I do have Amazon Prime. Darcy, you might want to consider that, get all that shipping free. As you finish what you're doing there with the chalking, if you want to begin to put that aside, if you're ready to go. I don't want to rush you through this, but I want to have enough time to get into the drawing. So I'm going to ask you to do that, to kind of gently put that aside, close up those plastic lids so they don't fall all over the place. And you'll need to have some other blank sheet of paper. You might use the back of that one that you did chalking on, or the front side. I'm just going to ask you to practice drawing 3 little items that we're going to use in our drawing tonight. So I'm going to shift over to the other screen. And I need to go to the black camera, and I'm going to stop share. Here we go. It is finished. To get to black camera, go to top and click on stop share.
You've already stopped share. You just need to switch your camera, Diane.
Okay, thanks, Shirley. And I just need to go down here and then camera. Okay. Huh. I just breathe a sigh of relief whenever it actually comes on the screen. Like, oh, don't stop on me now. Okay. In our drawing tonight, in the featured drawing of our curly-haired beauty, as I call her, we need to know about 3 different designs, and they're all pretty simple. One, we're going to practice spirals for her hair. The second is those stems of wheat, which are fun to draw. I incorporate those in a lot of my drawings, and then simple oak leaves. So I am going to begin here, and you can do the same thing on your paper. I have to draw sort of upside down, so mine might be a little bit squiggly and wobbly. The spirals are nothing more than, here, I think I can draw it this way, starting off with a small circle, getting larger and larger and larger, and then when you reach a point where you want to stop, have your line meet the other part of the spiral. And you can make these as small or as large as you wish. Because we are rather limited in time, you might want to make them either medium size or a little bit larger, or you're going to spend a lot of your time on the small curls. Is everybody okay with that? The more you draw these, the more fun they get to be. See what I did with this set? When you draw a spiral, the next spiral, you start a little bit away from the first one, and then you go around in your circles, and then you will join the second spiral with the first one, and then another round and around in circles, and there. So you try to have those spirals close together so there aren't any big gaps, as there would be if you'd see someone who has a newly permed haircut. Around and around and around. And then you're not only going to, you're going to do this in pencil first, of course, and then when you ink over them and then finally color over them, they become pretty neat. Okay, all right, for the spirals. And you can do these really fast. I mean, they don't have to look perfect at all. I think the more irregular they look, the better. And around and around. All right, moving on to the stems of wheat. These are going to be ornaments in our little girl's hair. The stems of wheat are nothing more than a stem, blank stem, looks like this. And I need to kind of curl myself around here, I think. I start on the tip of the wheat, and with rather wispy pen lines, don't draw carefully like this, but rather wispy pen lines, start with small, shorter lines. And as you go down the stem, those get longer and longer, and eventually you would want them to be all about the same size at the bottom. But go down as far as you think a stem of wheat would, and I'd go down about that far. And then I go back to the top, and once again, I'm going to start with short lines and then longer all the way down. I'll tell you guys, just something as simple as this is not only fun to draw, but it also looks quite effective. What I do with mine is, after I have the pen drawing, so this will be one of your last steps, when you add pencil or colored pencil, I usually use shades of brown, and I like to use more than one shade of brown. That, and then a little bit darker, and you could even add some more pen lines if you wish. But you see how effective it is. And then we'll probably draw at least 2, if not 3, and have them kind of crisscross over like this. And if they do blend together as they did here, fine, that looks good. Okay for that one? I'll draw another here. And remember to start short and go a little bit longer, but make them very quick lines. And there you have it. All right, and the last item that we're going to include in our drawing will be leaves, and these are kind of made to resemble oak leaves. For this one, and let's see if I can do it here again, if you don't mind. I start off with the stem, and the stem has a diagonal line at the end. So that's what your stem will look like. And then the leaf has if you look at this one up on top, it goes out and in, and then the middle at the top, and then out and in, out and back to the stem. So, and you draw it, you know, as large as you want it to be. You could have these pointed, you could have these rounded, as I have here. And let's draw the vein up through the center. And if you wish, you can draw smaller veins out from this one. Or you could do something like this. I'm going to draw another. And let's draw the vein up the center. And I've seen some really nice drawings where lines are drawn. These are not as neat as I'd like to have them, but you could draw lines, and they don't have to be all the way up, but they could be just a few of them here. And then color, maybe you could put some on the other side if you wish, or have the other side blank. It's entirely up to you. So now that we've got some of these little extra ornamentations down pat, you can put that aside, please. And you will need to have a paper for tonight's featured drawing. And do you have a sheet of paper there that you could draw on? I think I forgot to include that in the packet. I am sorry. But any paper at all, mine is going to be large. You can do it on a small sheet of paper if you want, on maybe one of those index cards that you were given last time. Is everybody okay with that? You've all got a sheet of paper to draw on? Okay, Darcy's running to get one. We're going to start off with a pencil and then go over the pencil marks with pen, and then erase the pencil marks and add any ornamentation we want to. I'm going to do mine in ink so you can see it more easily, because I'm afraid otherwise it's not going to show up as clearly on the picture. All right, so I'm going to be drawing kind of sideways. Let's start with drawing the circle, and you can either use your template, the round one that I gave you last time, or I have this template here. And we're going to start with that round face. And I'm just going to keep going. If you want me to slow down, Janetta is grabbing for something there. Anybody need more time? We're okay. Okay. This is the face. Now, you might recall last time I said we could draw a line, a pencil line through the middle. You don't have to do that, but just keep in mind that what's on top of that line will be the hair and also along the side of the face. And what's at the bottom is going to be her facial expression. So let's draw some eyes that are, I got to get in the bottom half. Let's draw eyes that look like this and like this. And then the eyebrows or the eyelashes will come up here and here. I'm going to take a moment out here, guys, and I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. Shirley, help me. I think I'm doing the right thing. And right here, I'm going to show you the finished product. This is what our little gal is going to look like. Okay, so now you have an idea. This is my pen drawing. This is my color drawing. So you see where we're going to put the wheat. She's going to have curly hair. She's going to have just a smiley face with earrings that are leaves. And then it's fall. So she's going to have some falling leaves around her, and she will have a balloon and some striped stockings. So I'm going to get out of this again, And Shirley, let's see, I go back to black camera.
You
Stop
need to
share.
stop screen share.
Okay, stop share.
There you
Thank
go.
you, Shirley. Okay, there we go. And so this is what we are at, where we are at now. The next thing I'd like to have you draw in are I guess it's the pupil. And let's have her looking off into this direction. So make this nice and large. And this will be black unless you want to have a different color. So you can fill that in later with your pen. And I'm going to do that right now. So she's looking off into an area that will actually be the wheat. Let's put in a nose, and that would be at the bottom area of her eyes, just a little curve, and then she has the smiley face, the mouth. Let's add next the neck, and her neck is a little longer than the one we did last week. So down and down, and there you go. Next, let's add the collar. Now the collar, let's put a little circle right here, a half circle for the end of her neck and the beginning of the collar. And the collar, let's go down and then a V like this. And we're going to have a button right there in the middle. This little character does not have a triangular body shape, but a long rectangular body shape. She is tall and thin. So let's go off a little bit from her shoulders. Or this would be her shoulders. They're very narrow shoulders. And she is going to go down quite far. Let's have her, I'm going to have to turn it this way just because I can't draw that straight. So we're going to go all the way down. I'm going to have you go down, 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 because she has a long skirt on. And then let's draw the other side of her body as well. Down, down, down. And the bottom of the skirt a little bit rounded like this. Let's add the arms next. Now the arms are going to be, one arm will be showing and her hand will be showing, but the other is going to be behind her. Let's draw a little bit out from here. She has thin arms, so we don't want to go out too far. And then right alongside her body, and I'm wondering how far down to put that. Let's put it down about here. Yeah, and then draw the bottom of her cuff there. And let's add the hand now. And that could be just like the mitten that we added last week. So nothing difficult to draw. On this side, the arm will go out about as far, but we're only going to end about right here. And notice how this will be. It's down, and then she has her arm behind her. The balloon is going to come off of this arm over here. Okay, so we've got the body, we've got arms. Let's put down some thin legs to go with the rest of her slenderness. You can make those as long as you wish. I'm not going to do anything with the shoes. You can all come up with your own very interesting and clever style of shoes on this gal. Okay, and let's put some stripes on those legs. So she has striped stockings. And it not only adds that bit of whimsy, but it gives you something else to add color to. Okay. Let us do next, oh, the coat. Let's do her coat. Now, her coat is going to be, it's going to be a coat over a narrow skirt. So let's put the coat, let's see. Yeah, let's go about right here. You see where her hand is? So the coat will be about this far. Let's first of all do the center portion of that coat and go down to about there. And the bottom of the coat would be a bit curved. And when you do the second half of her coat, let's start up here and just make it come down so it looks indeed as though it is an open coat. And there you have the top part. Now, as far as the bottom part is concerned, Oh, we need to add a pocket. I'm sorry. So there is something else to add here. And I'm going to put the pocket on this side. I'm going to put the top of the pocket as there. And then it is a big U. And a little flap on the pocket. And I'm going to just color that in black. And you could use colored pencil later on if you wish. Or you're using pencil now. Let's put a design on the skirt and we'll make it simple. It will be just a series of vertical lines. And they don't have to be real straight. You know, it's kind of like if she's standing and moving around and her skirt is blowing in the breezes there. And when you do this, what I did with mine, I chose browns because I think that she is a rather conservative lady. And I did light brown, dark brown, light brown, dark brown. You could add any other sort of design on there that you wish. But there we have her skirt and her jacket. And let's see, what do we need? Oh, let's do some hair. I think she needs some hair. And we're going to do the spirals. I'm going to start here in the center of her forehead and draw my first spiral. And I will branch out from there, trying to attach the spirals to one another. If I don't, it's not a problem. You can fill that in with color or just fill it in with some lines. Now, as you go, you're designing her hairstyle, aren't you? And you can make some of these larger and some of them smaller. This will take you a few minutes to do. I like to have the hairstyle around the top, kind of up and down, just like a natural hairstyle might be. And I will have it going all the way down, kind of beyond her, where her eyes are. A little bit lower than where her ears might be. I need more here. You see how you almost get in a rhythm with this? Just round and round and round. Don't have to be perfect by any means. And you can have a stray one or two floating off to the side or hanging over her forehead. Is your curly haired beauty turning into a beauty? I hope so. Next, we're going to, oh, maybe I should ask how you're doing on that one. Could we move on to the adornments now, the decorations? It's kind of fun doing those spirals. I can't stop you guys from doing spirals. It's fun. Okay, because of time, we have about 22 minutes left. Let's do the wheat in the hair. And I sort of ran out of room because I had my label at the top, but let's do the wheat in the hair. You'll have more space. So come out from the top and veer off like this. I wish I had more space. But but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do mine so they look like this. They would go up, and then I'm going to cross another one over this way, and you don't have to do a third. Let's just do 2 of them for now, but that's the way it would look if I had more space on the top. Just sort of crisscrossed, kind of floating up there. And then, of course, you're going to be putting these lines. Once again, start at the top of the line, and in wispy movements, get longer and longer and go down as far as you wish to go. Then I go back to the top and begin with short lines and go out, out, out. Again, down here. Now, mine are going to crisscross, which is fine. And so I will start up here, and you'll notice how it looks when I get down here. It just is a double set of lines. No problem at all. And the same thing here. Remember, when you're coloring with colored pencil, I would suggest you try like 2 colors that would be natural colors, I suppose, or they wouldn't have to be because this is whimsical, but you know, blend them together nicely with your colored pencil. Okay, so she's got this nice hair adornment. Now she does need to have something dangling down from her pretty curly hair. So let's add some leaves here. We have, you don't want them to be too big out of proportion. Or again, maybe you do, because I keep coming back to this. It's whimsical. Do whatever you wish. So we have like a stem, and then I'm going to draw out, out, and then the top one, and then out, and back in. And a vein up the middle, and some tiny veins out to the side. And I will do the same on this side. And you can have those, they're kind of blowing in the breeze, so they can be in different directions here. The vein up the middle. And certainly if you want to try a different design on your leaf, avoid the veins and do something else. Okay. When you have finished with the earring leaves, why don't you draw 1 or 2 leaves off to the side? They're falling down around her. I would, you could maybe put 2 on one side and 1 on another, asymmetrical. So I'm going to just put 1 over here and have that stem looking like this. So you can draw away there and add a few more leaves if you wish. And take a quick look here. In order to make it look as though those leaves are falling gently to the ground, you could put just a few little marks like this, and it gives them the look of motion. And I'm going to put 1. Ooh, I need a balloon here. Ooh, gosh. Okay, I gotta have space up here for my balloon, so try to avoid that area. I'm going to add another leaf over here. And again, put the movement. Fun. And possibly 1 more down here. And then we're going to draw the balloon. Okay, are you ready to go ballooning here? You could add some kind of bottom here. Once you draw the shoes, just make it look as if she's actually standing on something. Or you could have her floating, if you wish. All right, let's do the balloon. Now the balloon string will come from this arm down by her hand, and I'm going to draw it up. I shouldn't have put the leaf there. I should have put it lower, but we're going to work around it. I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to have a loop in the string, and then the balloon is going to be about right here. So let's see if I can do this. A loop in that string, and this is where I'm going to have the balloon. And you know how at the end of a balloon they bunch the material there together. So let's put it as though that bottom of the balloon is like that. And then it's bound here with a rubber band or something. And then let's make the balloon sort of oval shaped. With a little bulge on this side. It's ready to burst. Now, to make the balloon look a little bit more realistic, not realistic, but kind of like it's dimensional, let's put a pound sign over here, pound, like that, and just a single one in the opposite corner on the balloon. And this, my friends, finishes our curly-haired beauty in pencil. Now, your next step is to put that pencil aside and go over those pencil lines with ink. And you can make any corrections, any additions or deletions that you want to. Also, when you do the pen, you might wish to add the dots in the background or not. And then you might also like to do some chalking, but spend some time now doing the pen work. Anybody have any questions about this?
If you do have questions, remember to unmute yourself first.
Yes.
Or you can put them in chat, but.
Diane, I do have a question. This is Sandy.
And who is this?
This is Sandy.
Oh, Sandy. Okay, Sandy.
So when you are putting the eyes in, I know last week you said to put a line across and go on the lower half.
Yes.
Is there, like, according to the nose and the mouth, it looks like you've got the nose right about a little bit above the bottom half, or about, yeah. And then the bottom or the mouth is about almost at the eye level. Is that about, I mean,
well,
look.
Okay, Sandy, what we did last week, we put a pencil line right where I have my pencil now. Do you see it? It's just drawn in pencil. So that would remind us that above the pencil would be hair. Below the pencil is where you would draw the facial features. So as much as possible, yes. And so I think I'm getting your idea. The eyes, nose, and mouth would be all below that center line. Does that help? Does that answer?
So like, if for equidistant though, from the eyes to the nose to the mouth, should you stay within a certain proximity or just whatever you feel?
Whatever you feel. And the nose, usually I draw a little bit of a smaller nose. That could be down farther. It could be up a little higher. But you know, draw it so it looks okay to you. Okay. But that's usually the position that I have. Thanks for the question. Any other questions?
Hey, Diane, it's Darcy.
Yes, Darcy.
So we're going to run out of time, but what did you want us to do with the pieces of paper that we've got? The yellow cardstock and then the punched one.
Well, let me go back to share screen. Let's see if I got this right. And I'm going to show you what I was going to suggest for homework assignment. Now, again, we are going to, if we do meet again, it won't be until later in August, but just to keep practicing and to keep enjoying this, if you take a look at the screen, I'm suggesting that you do these things. Go online and search for simple, whimsical creatures, whether they be humanoids again, or birds and cats and dogs. anything at all. You'll find lots and lots of good examples, and draw a few and practice. But I'd like to have you try drawing on either colored paper or cardstock, or use scrapbook paper as a background. Especially try drawing on any vintage book page. If you go, and I'm going to show you here, go to free printables, do a Google search for free printables, or go to Pinterest for free printables. You can get literally almost any kind of paper. You don't have to go to Hobby Lobby and buy it. You can make a copy of it and do printables there. You can get music background. You could get, you know, dictionaries, all kinds of good things. Okay, back to here. Try adding a banner or dangles across the top of your paper, or anything hanging down from the top that would fit in with your theme. And then, of course, you have powdered chalk there. You have 4 little containers. So use powdered chalk for a pretty marble look. Thank you for asking that, Darcy, because I agree. We have about 10 minutes left, and I wanted to make sure that you had a chance to see what I would suggest you do. Because, you know, sometimes when we go to a class like this and we say, all right, we're going to be doing some practicing, but it ends up being kind of on the back burner. But if you do enjoy doing this, just try it, try your hand at it, and then gradually you're going to get really creative and imaginative, and you don't have to follow what I suggest you do, but you'll be taking off on your own. Okay for that? Flipping around here. Now I'm going to go to new share.
Diane, were you going to show the Joanne Basford art?
Would I show the book? Is that what you're asking?
You mentioned something about showing everybody or some of her art.
Well,
or the coloring.
she has a series of books. This is her most recent. She does all nature drawings, and she does them in black and white. This is her most recent. It's called How to Draw Inky Wonderlands. Or actually, I think she has a fantasy wonderland book that is more recent, but this is the one that I found and got latched onto. Along with this, she shares ideas for how to draw flowers, plants, birds, everything like that, which is very generous of her. Most often artists will require payment for and join my class and pay for it, but she will show you in this book how to draw those things. And then if you go to Joanna Basford YouTube videos, or go to her homepage or her Facebook page, any of those sources, you will find her YouTube videos, and she has numbers of those, numerous videos where she shows you in detail how to draw anything, how to draw and how to color. She's a beautiful colorer, I should say. So this is one. And also, guys, go on Amazon and look up her name, and then you will get a full list of all of the books that she has done. She was one of the pioneers of adult coloring books. And she's just a little whimsical, just a tiny little character. She lives in Scotland, I believe. So she has a wonderful accent, and she has 2 little girls. She has a small studio, and you see all of that when you go to her videos. Kim, you've seen these already, wherever Kim is on there. So I think, yes, I think she would. Anything to add on that, Kim?
She has like 10, with that book, she has like 10 videos that she walks through the different sections. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And then the coloring, there's different fan pages on Facebook, and people will show their work, and it's just amazing what people will do with her coloring books.
Yes, and I think it is amazing, Kim, because she goes through it step by step, doesn't she? She is a very good teacher. She goes through step by step, and then you can follow along. Hey, and if you got it on YouTube, you can stop it, stop action, and finish drawing, and then start up again. Yes. Thank you for those comments. Anyone else? Well, we are nearing it is 8 o'clock on my computer. Any final comments quickly? Okay, Shirley, I think we're ready to sign off.
Yep.